Yo, we got a new segment this week. It's called The Business of Football. I want to introduce you to Hillary Seiler. She is the financial coach. She calls herself Coach Hill. You can look her up online. She runs financial footwork, and she's the financial educator for a lot of the 49ers, which I think is really interesting. So I just want to talk business with Hillary today and introduce you to a subculture, introduce you to how the league really works. Hillary, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Just to hook the audience, since they're mostly Niner fans, could you just say like who you work with and what you do for them? Like, what is your job and who are you helping right now?
So I am the financial educator for the 49ers. I'm one of a couple different people that come in and talk money, and I work directly with the players. So I'm working with incoming rookies, veterans, free agents, pretty much anyone who comes into the building. And I am hired by the team directly to work with the guys.
How did the team get in? How did the team find you and choose you?
Yeah, the team actually found me as a referral from another team. So my first team in the league was the Miami Dolphins, and the guys across the league know each other really well. Did a good job for the Dolphins. My team and I hustled, and I got introduced to Austin at the 49ers, and the rest is history. That was 2018 or 2019, I believe, and we've been with them ever since.
Obviously, there's confidentiality here. You're not just going to be like, so Kittle asked me to do this one thing this one time, and here's what happened, and here's what his wife's. I'm not asking you to be like that, but just respecting confidentiality. Could you just give fans an idea of maybe how many clients you have on the team right now?
Yeah, the whole roster has access to me. So it's everybody.
There you go. Yeah. So this is Coach Hill. She's part of the 49ers, and she's helping these young men learn what to do with their money. I'm 34, and I don't know what to do with my money or your money. So this is very interesting. And I bet the people watching don't know what to do either. So let's get into it. Yeah. How did you, let's do like this. How did you get into this line of work?
It's a long, like, do you want the quick and dirty or you want the long version?
I want the long. It seems like you have sort of created a lane for yourself, which I find highly interesting. So how'd you get into this?
It was a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work, but I got into it in college. So I was in college at Oregon State University many moons ago. I'm not going to date myself, but when I was in college, I had quite a few friends that were drafted to the NFL. And the biggest complaint was, I don't know what to do when I get my signing bonus. And let's face it, we all make money mistakes, right? We get our first job and we overspend on our credit card, but we understand that we don't have a ton of money and we don't have access to a lot of money. So we can't totally blow the bank. Well, my friends that were in the NFL had access to a lot more money, and they had more money, more problems. And it's not that more money always brings more problems, but it can when you don't know what to do with it. So I realized there was a need and nobody was servicing that need. So I created a program after building programs for Fortune 500 companies and private sector companies, and decided that, you know what, I want to help athletes. I'm an athlete. Most of my friends are athletes. This is my lane. These are my people. And so I started working with teams and one-off players. And in 2017, I got a phone call. And it was an ex-player who said, you need to talk to the Dolphins. I played with them. They love what you're doing. Let's go. Sure enough, I built an entire curriculum for the Dolphins. And that particular organization referred me to the Niners. And then the Niners have been instrumental in helping me acquire other teams. So it's a labor of love. It's a lot of work, but it's absolutely my passion. And I love helping people. So it pays off. That's how I got started.
So I'm just trying to... Can you take us through like how the onboarding process might work? Like the 49ers bring you in, you do a presentation, they give out your information to players, and is it up to them to reach out to you? Like, how do you develop these relationships? This guy's coming to you. Take us through that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know this, but the NFL league itself mandates rookie programming. Okay. So that means that rookies have to get financial education. They absolutely have to get education in other sectors. There's a lot of courses these guys go through. It's like drinking from a fire hose their entire rookie season. And so they are learning all of these life skills that none of us get a crash course in because they don't teach this stuff in college or in high school. And we're teaching it to them quickly. So I go in during rookie camp and I meet the guys for 1 to 2 days and we do a presentation, but we also sit down one-on-one with a lot of the incoming rookies and we just get to know them, who they are, what they like, what they know about money, what their family knows about money. And then our job isn't to tell them what to do. It's to help them understand what they have so they can make good choices that work for them. Because every rookie, is going to be different. Everyone has a different signing bonus. They all have the same salary, but their signing bonuses vary. And so it's helping them understand what they can do. And we start that in rookie camp, which allows us to develop a relationship all year long. And some guys I'll meet on Zoom, I'll meet via Zoom once a month. Some guys I'll only talk to when I'm in the facilities, and that's up to the guy. Each individual guy has their financial team, and we're just one facet of it.
How do you work with their financial team? Are you in contact? Like, how do you, and what do you offer that a financial team wouldn't? You know what I mean?
What was that?
What do you offer that a financial team wouldn't? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So think about it this way.
Yes.
A financial advisor is someone who's going to handle your investments, look at long-term goals, grow your wealth. An attorney is going to look at how do we plan for your estate? What are we going to do to maintain the wealth that you currently have? And then you've got your real estate agents, your mortgage lenders, your insurance agents that help you buy real estate, protect your assets like your car and your house. But nobody's in there doing their budget with them.
Right.
Nobody's in there teaching them about credit and how to leverage it correctly and how to build a credit score. Yeah. And so that's where we come in as the financial educators, and we set the foundation. So my job is fundamentals, and take it back to sports. How do you learn how to play football? The first thing that you learn is how to walk, then how to run, then how to catch a ball, how to tackle, right? You learn the fundamentals. And that's where we come in. So we are part of the overall financial team. I talk to a lot of FAs. I talk to a lot of realtors, and I'm on calls with the guys and their team all the time. But it's just a matter of when they need me and where I fit in. And that's usually the basics. That's everything from day-to-day spending to, should I make this purchase? I get a lot of those calls. Can I buy this bag? No. Like, I've had that many times. Can I buy this Louis bag?
No.
Can we wait? Can we wait?
Get the second contract.
Right. I always say, wait till you get broke off on the second contract and then we'll talk. But
wait till you get broke off. That's what Coach Hill says. I like that. That's true.
Wait till you get broke off. Once you get your second contract, go to town. But honestly, though, okay, let's be real here for a second, Grant. If
I had one good year on YouTube and I bought a car, you probably would have told me not to do that. But you know what? You're not my financial coach. No,
I don't tell them not to buy a car.
People, or do you only work with athletes? And if so, what about the specific plight of the professional athlete calls to you?
I actually work with consumers. I have thousands of consumer clients. So Financial Footwork is a self-paced, basically education program, and you can go learn everything I teach the pros. You can learn it yourself and do it like a workout program. But what really appeals to me from the professional athlete perspective is I'm an athlete. I work out every day. So I design my program like you would work out in the gym. So it's weekly workouts, little things you can do every day to get better. Because if you just look at finance as a whole, it's really overwhelming and scary. And so with athletes,
that's why I don't look at it.
You're like, I don't even want to look at it, right?
In a whole, in parts, none of it. Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. And so if you take it with your weekly workouts, so I designed the program, it's 12 weeks. One of my first programs is the beginner budget course, and it's 12 weeks. And instead of sitting down for 6 hours and making your budget, right? Because everyone's like, oh my gosh, I will not do that. My rookies won't do that. They're like, I'm not doing this. It's overwhelming. Let's take it 20 to 30 minutes a week. Yeah. Build it out over 12 weeks. And by the end of that, you've tracked your spending, you're protecting your wealth, you're building your budget. Same things the pros are doing, everyone needs to be doing. It doesn't matter if you make $10,000 or $10 million. It's the same fundamentals. So that's what I love teaching is if you can get the fundamentals, you don't need me anymore. And that's where I come in for the athletes. But also, I just love to lift. I love to work out. I'm an athlete at heart. So I relate to these guys. Everything that I do is around sports, and it's easy.
Okay, let me ask you this. What's the most common thing players ask your help with most often?
The three big ones are limiting their spending, because if I had $1 million, I'd spend it too at 22. We all would, because you've never seen that kind of money. So it's just managing their spending. You're going to love this one. How do I get a good credit score?
That's a great question.
I get that all the time. I have a program for that.
Yes,
I take them through building credit. Their whole rookie season, we start them in May. I pull their credit reports with them, and I help them build their credit, and I show them all the things that they need to do through the season. So by the end of the season, the goal is that they're in the high 700s for credit. And some of these guys come in with no
purchase, pay it off. Make a purchase, pay it off.
Yep. Use your credit card the right way. That's the key. Like if you can use the credit card the right way, anyone can build an 800 credit score. It's using it the right way.
So how to use the credit card? Do you tell them like which credit cards to buy, to get?
Or to apply for? Yeah,
Yes.
it depends on where they're at.
Okay.
Because not everybody can apply for the same credit cards.
Got it.
If you don't have a credit score, you're not getting a Chase Sapphire travel rewards card. Chase
Even if you were a first round pick?
What was that?
Even if you were a first round pick and you just got broke off?
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
your income.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
credit score.
See? I'm a financial
Sometimes a financial advisor can finagle it if you're with Chase, like, yeah. But, you know, even if a guy has good credit, they're not always going to be able to apply for the highest level credit cards because credit's all about length of history. How long have you had it? And when you're 22 and you've never had it, you have no history to prove.
True.
So there's different cards for different guys. We elevate them to the next level as they go. But that's my second biggest question. And number 3, how do I say no?
Ooh, like for your family members and stuff?
How do I say no when 10 of my friends want me to take them to dinner? How do I say no when someone from high school pops up and asks for $5,000?
Boundaries.
How do I say no so that I can protect myself? Because
that's not even a financial question. That's more like
it is though. It is though, and I'll tell you why it is.
Okay.
Forget money for a second.
Yeah.
Your finances are 99% here and 1% math.
Yes.
If you cannot control your habits or your spending, the math doesn't matter.
It's true.
So if you can't get this right, you can't set boundaries, and you can't say, I know how I spend money. My environment is changing how I think about money. Now that I'm around more people with money, what does that mean? It is a game of psychology more than it is a game of math. Yes. And so as a financial coach, my job is to give them as many tools as I can to help them answer that question.
I see.
So I'm never going to tell a guy, you have to say yes, you have to say no, you have to do this, you have to do that. But my job is to say, well, here's one option. Here's another option. How do you want to approach it? And sometimes it's just letting them vent it out and they come to the conclusion themselves. But when do I say yes? And how do I say no?
It's almost like telling someone how to break up with someone. Like, what do I say? How do you say no? Like, what would you tell someone? What's a polite way to do it?
It depends on the question. And it depends on what the ask is. But if the ask is, can I borrow money? My response is, do you want to lend them the money? And if the answer is no, then say it's not in my budget. And for 99% of these guys, it's not.
I like that.
So
I like that.
Let me ask you this, Grant. Do you think NFL players are rich?
Not particularly, right? I mean,
exactly.
First of all, they're not going to be in the league that long. They say not for long. 2.5 years on average?
3.3
years? So maybe 3. And so a lot of these guys play for $400,000. The vet minimum is $800,000. Some guys are rich, but most of them really aren't. And like half the money goes to taxes and agents and advisors and whatever. So no.
Yep. They're not wealthy.
No.
Now there is a percentage of the league that is.
Yes.
I'm not going to take away from the Tom Brady's of the world. I'm not going to take away from the Peyton Mannings by any means. Those guys, they have wealth, but they've also played a long time. They've done the right things. Most people won't make it past 3.3 years. Yeah. And when the rookie salary is 660 to 700 to 800,000, yeah, you might make 1.5 to 2 million bucks, but half of that's gone because of taxes, depending on where you live. Yes. And then you still have to live. You have to train. You have to take care of your body. You're going to be moving a lot. Moving costs a lot of money. If you've ever moved, I mean, think about what it takes to actually physically move, the amount of time, the amount of money. You've got to change utilities. You've got bills coming from here and there and everywhere. It gets expensive really fast. So although they make a lot of money in a short period of time, after you deduct everything, we're not wealthy. They're maybe at a C-level executive salary, and it's only for 3 to 5 years.
That's right.
So when people are asking them for these, 5-6 figures of money, they don't have that kind of money. And so
but everyone in their life assumes like they just hit the lottery, right? And it's going to just be a gravy train forever because they were a 5th round pick or an undrafted free agent, right? That's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
I've seen 1st round draft picks get cut in their 2nd season and be broke in 5 years. There isn't a magic sauce to this. At the end of the day, but I've also seen undrafted free agents with a real estate portfolio when they're done because they did it all right. They lived on a $40,000 a year budget for everything. I mean, it's how
players do that. I don't even do that. I got a little bit of success on YouTube, and I'm over here being like, "Hey, baby, you want to go to the Ritz this weekend? Just for
you want to go to Puerto Vallarta for a week? Let's go.
You want to go to the Ritz? I mean, we just got to get out of the really. You have people with that level of discipline being like, I am working class, even though I'm in the NFL. Wow.
Yes. I actually would say about 7 to 10% of the guys I work with operate that way. That is how they operate.
Is that what you advise them to? Wow.
What I basically tell them is you figure out what you can live at in rookie camp. What's your budget? This is the average NFL person's budget with agent fees, taxes, and everything else. This is your monthly. This is how much you earn. What do you want to live on? How do you want your lifestyle to be? Because at the end of the day, it's up to them. They can live like a king for 3 years, or they can live like a prince forever. It's up to them. And so helping them establish what that baseline is my job. And then once they establish it, their discipline has to kick in. And let's face it, Grant, these are the most disciplined, well-trained, smartest guys.
Exactly.
Nobody realizes these guys, if someone says, oh, athletes are stupid, I get kind of offended because I work with these guys every day. And I will tell you, their schedules are so regimented. They have to memorize a playbook this thick, and they change every week.
And it's conceptual. It's like when it's cover 2, you got to do this. And when it's with man coverage, you adjust. It's very conceptual and difficult. And
and it's strategy, and it's being able to understand and read plays when you're on the field that translate from that playbook. So when people say, oh, athletes are stupid. No, athletes don't know what they don't know because they've never been taught.
Right.
That's
football players in particular are really smart too. Football players. I'm just saying, I was a baseball player. I knew a lot of guys that didn't know the difference between 1 ounce and 2 ounces. It's a little bit different in baseball, but football is very conceptual.
And it's a strategy game. So these guys understand strategy. They understand discipline. They know how to work. And it's just a matter of giving them a roadmap and letting them run with it. And every guy does it different. So the same guy that's playing wide out for one team isn't going to play it the same way another guy is for another team. Same concept with your money game.
Right.
And that's why we do what we do, because we get to cultivate great relationships with each of these men. We learn, we learn about their families, their wives, their girlfriends, their kids, and we get to help them progress in their life so that they aren't the percentage of guys that end up broke.
Let me ask you a question, because the first thing you said was, can I spend this? Like the budget thing. So what if undrafted free agent, or what if a 5th round pick who just got that $400,000 salary, whatever the minimum is right now, came to you and said,
$660, it'll go up again this year.
Nice. $660.
New CBA rules changed 2 years ago.
All right. Let's say he said, okay, so I want to buy a car. It's a 2018 Kia Stinger. It's got 9,000 miles on it. Generally would go for about $50,000, but I can get it way reduced for about $35,000. What do you think? Is that a good purchase?
24/10 rule.
What's 24/10 rule?
20% down, 4-year loan, 10% of your income. If it matches that, you can buy it. So 20% down on your $35,000. The loan can't be more than 4 years long.
Okay.
And if the payment is more than 10% of your income, that's not the car for you.
The down payment?
No. 10% of your yearly income, which it wouldn't be because they make so much more money than the rest of us in this short window of time.
Okay. But I'm not talking about myself right now. I promise. It's not.
You're fine. You're good. I mean, I figured it was with me. But it's fine.
You're a friend of mine. A friend of mine.
Real talk. I get questions like this every season. And I even think about this. I wanted to buy a new car and I went, nope, car market's too crazy right now. I'm not doing anything for a year. And that's a whole different story for another day. But I always say, set a baseline, 20% down, 4-year loan term. If these guys are doing 8-9-year loans on these cars, they're paying so much in interest they don't need to pay.
Yeah.
And if they're paying more than 10% of their income to a car loan,
it's a mistake.
We got to talk.
It's a big mistake.
We got to talk. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's their choice. So if they decide to do an expensive car, because that's their thing, they don't care where they live. They don't need nice clothes. They just want a really nice car. It's a different lifestyle conversation. So their budget's going to look different than the next guy. So I can't ever generalize just one guy because they're all so uniquely different and they all want different things out of life. So when we're building their budgets and we're talking month over month over month in season, their wants and needs change. And that's the reason.
I have another question. So my friend with this car is not me. He also recently put a 12-inch subwoofer in the back. Just one, but it was a JL audio, which is really good. I mean, what would you say about putting in things like subwoofers in cars? Is that okay?
Subwoofers you can take out. So, you can roll with that into the next car.
Okay, I'll tell my friend. All right.
Yeah. So for your
I hear a lot of players slapping. I'm just saying I hear them slapping. It seems like they have 2 12s, maybe 3. And I'm just wondering if that
Go
is that.
for it.
I
if
think
you can afford it and it's mobile, great. But if you're going to spend $7,000 on 4 rims, I'm probably going to have a conversation with you about the
rims.
devaluation.
You got to draw the line at rims. I'm with you on that. I'm going to tell my friend not to get the rims. Definitely not get the rims.
So you just let your friend know. You just let your friend know.
David Velez wants to know, what are some of the cautionary tales you tell players to convince them that this is how you got to do things? Interesting question.
That's a good question. Thank you, David. Cautionary tales. Well, we have a lot of examples, don't we? And I don't love naming names for players, but in the building, I will.
Okay.
So cautionary tales to convince them. If we look at dating back to, I'm gonna date myself here. ESPN's 30 for 30 broke, and they were talking about 78% of players leave the league broke in 2009. I think that stat's a little high based on my metrics and what I see. But cautionary tales are everything from, you do not want to be paying child support for 5 different kids. Because guess what, guys? I've had that happen. I have guys that I've worked with that literally can't pay their bills because they made poor decisions when they were younger. That's one. The other one is simply lifestyle. This is not a Hollywood movie. You don't get to ball out. You don't get to do all of these things until you get that second contract, and the money is there for you to do what you want, and the rest of it's working in the off to the side that we don't see. And so I use actual player examples, but I won't state the names here because I don't want to put anybody on blast.
Right,
but yeah, I do. I actually have cautionary tales of guys that I have personally worked with that have given me permission to share that in the facilities. But I also don't like to approach things from a negative. I'm a pretty positive human. I feel like finance is already scary enough. So yes, there's a little bit of a scare tactic, but it's also about what can be done right to motivate them in a positive way. Because a lot of these guys can take a roadmap that's good and work with it. If all you do is give them the bad, there's nowhere to improve. Like, they don't know where to start. And so one of my dear friends who I am allowed to talk about is Julius Thomas. He played in the league for 7 years. He played for the Denver Broncos. So side note, I don't actually watch football, so I have to remember where they played and what their positions were.
That's great.
But anyways, Julius is great. We work together now. And he did the living like he was a college student while in the NFL. So he had a budget. He stuck to it for the first 4 years. When he got his second contract, he didn't up his budget by very much, and he saved everything. And I use his example in everything that I do. I actually have his numbers. He will share this with the guys. And so showing them what the right way looks like, and then showing them what the wrong way looks like. But again, there's also we got to be a little bit private about things that we share. And so I would never put a player on blast. And I love your question, David, but I can't give you any examples because it is kind of that behind closed doors piece. But there's always good and there's always bad, and we share both. Yeah. Okay,
I have a question. What's the most unusual thing a player has asked you your help with?
That's a hard one. Let me think on that for a second. The most unusual question, probably, I get maybe 1 or 2 a year about how do I become a financial educator like you. I think that for me is like the most unusual thing, because why do they want to teach finance? In terms of money questions, usually it's pitfalls around, how do I avoid making a big money mistake now that I've already made one? Those are the most unusual questions that I typically get. But again, I can't go into specific examples because you might actually know who the player is. So that, it's hard. It's different every year. I don't have a specific example for that because it really depends on the guy and who they are. Some questions you might think are unusual, but I know the guy, so I'm like, no, it's not unusual for them.
Fair enough. Angelic Ambition has a question. She asks, what different investments do you promote to your clients?
We do not promote anything to our clients. As a financial educator working with the teams, I cannot promote a bank. I cannot promote a financial advisor, and I absolutely do not advise on any type of investments, crypto, NFTs, none of that. My agreement with the teams is that I will educate, give them a tool belt of information, and give them as much as I can. So I will teach them how stocks work, how dividends work, what a stock split is, how bonds work, what a mutual fund is. I teach them the fundamentals of investments, but I absolutely do not, under any circumstances, none of my team does. We do not do any type of investment advising. That's the next question. Don says, where do you advise a rookie on minimum contract to invest their money? Yeah, good question, Don. We don't. That is left to the FAs. So then the thing about being a financial educator, our job is not to provide a bunch of financial advice on investments. Our job is to provide fundamental tools to help these young men understand their money and then take those tools to their investment specialist, their financial advisor, their CPA, and then make that money work. So we're just the stepping stone to the investment piece.
My dad asks, what if a player refuses to listen to your advice?
You know, some guys just don't care. So super good question. They have to sit through my courses. It is required by the league that all rookies get financial education, period. So they have to sit through it. Whether or not they use it is completely on them. Now, I have had guys that have come back after they've left the league and said, I should have paid attention. I should have taken this seriously. Can you help me now? That happens a lot. But the nice thing about social media, what it's done for us, is it's actually got the guys to come in and really listen. Also, I'm not here to tell them what to do with their money. My job is to help them in any way that I can. So I'm not going to sit here and say, you have to spend money on this or you shouldn't spend money on that. I might say, hey, really think about it. But I would say 90-95% of the guys that we work with really listen, and they care because they know the stats and they know what can happen if they don't do the right things. But they don't have to listen. That's the beauty of what we do.
Good question, Dad. Thanks. My dad was also a journalist.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
SG Sports Talk channel says, hey, Shardal. Hi, Hillary. What things do you love about your job?
The guys, the people I work with. It's like being a big sister 24/7 to about 500 athletes. And my team, I have a team of 5 people that work with me, and they all have their respective teams that they work with as well. And I love making a difference with the guys. When I see the light bulb go off, or I get the call, I just closed on my first house, or I get the girlfriend calling me saying, thank you so much for helping me set up my wedding budget, or I get the thank you for the onesie for our first child. Like these are my friends, but these are also people that I know can make a difference in the community. So I love working with them. But full circle, the best part of my job is that if I teach these men and their spouses what they can do with money, they can go back to their communities and make a bigger impact than I'll ever be able to make. And if they're impacting their communities in a positive way, that's how we make generational change. And these guys are it. They're starting it already. So if they have the fundamentals and they can teach their family and their friends how to use money the right way, because no one's really ever been taught, then they can go and perpetuate that message in a very positive manner. And you're already seeing it across the league. Guys like Ndamukong Suh, we actually both are from Portland, Oregon. He's already perpetuating that message. If you look at his Twitter and his Instagram, I've met him once. I don't know him all that well, but I watch his message and I think it's powerful because he has such a reach. Those are the types of generational changes I get to witness firsthand. And that's why I love what I do. No one knows who I am, but I get to watch these guys go make a difference. And that's fun.
Delicioso says, if I was in your shoes, Hillary, I would lead all my presentations with a picture of MC Hammer. See, now you're dating yourself. Do you know who MC Hammer is?
Of course I know who MC Hammer is.
He's born in 1998.
I'm older than you, Grant.
I was born in 88. I lived through the Hammer pants. All I'm saying is when you keep talking about this, I keep thinking about that line from White Chicks where they're like, how broke are we, Daddy? MC Hammer broke. I was like,
MC Hammer broke.
MC Hammer broke. Yeah. I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? I love it. If you'd hire me, I'd help you avoid this change. # Chargers. That's hilarious. No, I haven't ever started a presentation with MC Hammer. I have started a presentation with T.O.'s face, though.
Why?
There was a certain something that happened in the facility that was an ongoing joke with one of my teams, and so I started a presentation with his face. That's all I can say.
Okay, intriguing.
You're like, now I'm curious.
J-Rod's crossing the line right now. J-Rod says, Coach Hill, thoughts on Trey Lance as a person?
I'm not allowed to comment on that. But what
Sorry, J-Rod.
What I can tell you is the facility itself, the Niners organization, and this is something I can speak from the heart about. I've worked there now for 4 years. There is not a single person that has entered that building that has ever done anything that I would question. They are a solid organization. I love the locker room. The locker room is awesome. The guys are great. I can't comment on any specific player, but I can tell you that it's not every day you walk into a facility and everybody waves and says, what's up, Hill? It's nice to see you again. Yeah, right? Look, so there's something to be said about that.
The team I covered 10 years ago, I don't know if you would say that about them. It was a lot different. This team, I've had that experience too. They're very down to earth and likable. So I'm glad that they're like that outside the locker room when reporters aren't.
They're really, really good guys. I can say that about every team I work with. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way that the teams care about these guys and are actually helping them and really developing them as people. You see that. You can see it. It's tangible. It's visible. It's all the things. And I love working with the guys in the locker room. I know it'll change again this year, but the last 4 years have been a killer experience.
Okay, I got a question for you. This is more of a 49er-centric question. In general, when a player gets drafted or signs with a California team such as the 49ers for the first time and they come to you, what is their reaction? What do they say?
Well, one of the first things we do in our presentations is we pull up a mock pay statement of what they're going to get paid on their rookie salary. And then we show them the state tax in California. And then we compare that to the state tax in, say, Tennessee, which is 3%, or Cleveland, which is 4.99%. And everyone goes, oh, I got drafted to a California team. This sucks. Because a lot of people don't realize this, but NFL players get taxed where they play. So 9 games a year, they're taxed at the California state level. And then the other 8 to 9 games that they travel to, they will be taxed in the states that they play. So you get paid if you play. And depending on where you play, you pay.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But it's usually not a good reaction when I show them taxes and cost of living. I had one guy get up and leave the room. He's like, I'll be back. He's like, and he literally got up and left the room. He's like, I'm not doing this. I can't hear this right now. I was like, all right, see you later. Came back in 10 minutes later. He's like, okay, I've calmed down.
Okay, where was he from? Just not from here, right?
We'll just say the deep south.
The deep south, where the money you're making in the NFL, you could be the richest person in your county. Out here,
you could be Warren Buffett living in a mansion for $250,000.
Right. And out here for $250,000, you're not even owning property.
No, you can't even buy dirt for $250,000.
You can't even buy the dirt.
No, you can't even buy the dirt.
Duplex. You could have a nice 1-bedroom apartment next to some other people who make a lot of money too.
Yep.
Doesn't seem like, it was really interesting, right? 2 Niners just got signed. They had their introductory press conference. And both of them, like the first question, like, so how did it become that you became a Niner? They're like, well, let me tell you, it wasn't because of the taxes. Like, it's like right on the front of their mind, like, this is awful. Why did I have to come? But anyway, I guess not that awful, but it's.
If they're re-signing, they also realize like what's going to happen when that signing bonus hits, and California takes 13.3%, and then the Fed takes another 37%. So that's over 50% is gone. That money is not even, that does not exist for you. Put $1 million on the table, cut it in half, and throw 50% in the garbage can.
Throw it away.
Literally just throw it in the garbage can. You're never going to see it.
So you've had players get up and leave and come back and be like, I'm sorry, I wasn't emotionally prepared for what you just told me.
There are guys that will just sit there and put their heads down. And I'm like, okay, so this is going to hurt. I need you guys to be ready for this. And they all kind of sit back like, what is she going to throw at us? What is she going to do? Yeah. So here's how your taxes work. And they're just, you almost have to go, is it worth making this much money for how much money I'm going to pay in taxes? Because I don't feel like I'm making any money now. And that's a real feeling. And money's emotional. Money is 100% dictated by emotions.
Are there things they can do to get into like lower tax brackets, like start an LLC, make a bunch of business expenses?
Potentially.
Do something like that?
Yeah, potentially. It depends on how they do it. If they do it right, yeah.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm. But they have to have a business to invest in and an idea and something that they can file with the IRS and pay to have a corporation and right.
And it's expensive to have an LLC in California too. It's super expensive, man.
It's not worth it.
I'm so like they probably. How often do players are they like surprised? Like, I thought we were going to San Francisco. What the hell is Santa Clara? Does that happen?
Why in Santa Clara? What's
Santa Clara?
I actually think they like it.
Okay.
At least the guys I've talked to. San Francisco's what? 45-hour drive. It's not that far.
45 minutes,
and the weather is better in Santa Clara. It's way sunnier. It's not as much rain.
That's true.
And a lot of these guys like sun, so that's good. But I think a lot of them just kind of know that the Niners aren't in Candlestick anymore, and they realize like it's an hour south, and that's cool. Also, you guys have the best sandwich shop on the planet in San Jose. And so I introduce all the rookies to that on the regular. I'm like, we have to go get a Chris combo at La Villa. If we don't do that, I'm not coming. That's my rule.
What's it called?
La Villa. It's a
La
little
Villa. Sorry, I'm an
Italian.
Oakland guy. I don't know about San Jose like that. La Villa.
Oh,
Okay. This is
I'm a huge hockey
a
fan.
49ers tradition, you're telling me?
Oh, they have it on the plane. The Chris combos are their chartered plane food. So yeah, I when I land on Sundays, if I'm there early enough, I literally haul.
Okay.
Yeah, so because they're not open Mondays. No, not Sundays. Sorry, Saturday. It's Tuesday through Saturday. So depending on when I land, I've got to get my Chris combo. My people in Santa Clara know this.
I'm pretty sure like Joe Staley became a media guy last year, and at his first day working for NBC, he came into the press room and had a bunch of like Italian subs from some place in San Jose, and I think it was probably that. And they were really good.
I got turned on to it by Tom Holy. He's the director of player engagement for the Dallas Stars and my hockey team. And he's also happens to be one of my very good friends. And he worked for the San Jose Sharks for 8 years. So when I came down to the 49ers for the first time, he goes, you got to go to La Villa. And I was like, what is that? He goes, just ask for a Chris combo. Don't question me. Call me when you're eating it. I literally ate the whole thing and got a second one. And then I called him and I was like, I'm never leaving. I'm staying here forever.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
Okay. Final question. What resources do you offer players? I mean, the full gamut. What tell them. And people who are watching who are probably taking notes.
Well, for people who are watching and taking notes, if you want the same program the players get, we sell it. I have all my programs on financialfootwork.com. But for the players, a lot of what we do is one-on-one, and a lot of what we do is in person. But they get my playbooks, which are behind me, which take them through all these financial exercises. They also get access to my coaches, which is a little different than everybody else. So they can ask us questions in real time at any time. That's the service we offer to the teams. And then I also do a YouTube channel, which is a ton of fun. It's Financial Footwork on YouTube. And I actually interview players about their money experiences. So in real time, you're getting guys like Greg Newsome talking about, he's with the Cleveland Browns, like what his experiences are with money. Christian Wilkins, who is a first-round draft pick for the Dolphins, he talks about the best piece of financial advice he's ever been given. I did a few interviews with Julius Thomas. So those resources are designed to help the masses, but also to hear it from someone who's been where you've been or where you are is really helpful. So anytime I post a new YouTube video, all my players are watching it and being, messaging me and being like, when's it my turn? When are you going to interview me? So that's really, really cool. But the majority of what we do with them is in the facilities. And when they're looking for outside things, we do put on webinars. We do a lot of real estate wealth building webinars for the teams we work with across the league. And I do that for consumers as well. A couple times a year, I will open up a webinar. I'll allow about 500 people in, and it'll be an open question Q&A, and we'll talk about a specific topic.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, what I would like, my vision for the future is hopefully Hillary and I could interview some players on the 49ers, if they're into it, just about business and life and what they're going through, not about football at all. That's what I'd like to do. But we'll see.
I will see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Hillary, this was really a lot of fun. I learned a lot. This was very unusual. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And if you want, you should subscribe to her YouTube channel. I just put the link in the chat. It's in the video description. And check out that sandwich shop in San Jose. What says the best sandwich shop in Oakland is Mills Hoagie. That's a very good one. They used to have an Italian place and it's gone. Anyway.
Send me the link to the sandwich shop in Oakland. I'll have to check it out.
Mills Hoagie.
Okay, I got it. I'm on it.
All right. See you guys. Thanks for watching.